Welcome to the Reward Master Live on Sunday afternoon. I was looking at it and I think this is our maybe 24th live session that we've had on this channel. And that means 24 weeks of doing this live. And uh, it just doesn't seem like we've done that many. So been going by very, very quickly. And that's mostly in part because such a great community. So I want to thank all of you so much for being here every Sunday afternoon. Today, you'll notice I started just a little bit early, and that's because my schedule with the time change, my schedule is changing a little bit on Sunday. So I have something a little later in the day I need to take care of. So I think 2:30 is kind of where I'm going to land, at least in the winter. So good to have everybody here so far. I think there's several in here already. Let me go and get to some of the comments. Larry73 says, hello, Bop. Hey, hello. Yes, Bop is a nickname, but that's what all the like kids in our family call me. So yes, I've had a few people say, I thought it was Bob. No, Bop and Nona. That's what everybody calls us. So Tampa Travel. Hey, Bop, good to have you here, Tampa Travel. And to Larry, if I didn't say that before. DM, always here. Good to see you, DM. Way back, Matt Clausen. Howdy. Hey, Matt, if you haven't watched Matt Clausen, he is like the expert on all of the technical stuff when it comes to points and miles. His channel's fantastic, so make sure to check that out. James V gives a wave. James, good to have you here with us. And Rob Knopper Studio. Rob, good to have you with us. I'm signing in from Marrakesh. That's pretty awesome. In fact, I was talking to Nona about maybe one of our upcoming trips going to Casablanca, Marrakesh, so all of that. So that would be pretty awesome. Joe NY Law, channel member. Joe, good to have you here. James, but I forgot to mention that James is a channel member also Tampa Travel and Tulare 73. So good to have all of y'all here. Joe, appreciate you very much. All right. I think we got 17 in here already. That's pretty good in the first 2 minutes and 27 seconds. So pretty awesome. And let's see if anybody's, we've had 5 hit the like button. So if you do that, if you haven't subscribed yet, I peaked over 1,900 subscribers and working towards that coveted 2,000 mark by the end of the year. At least that's my goal. So if you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate that. Doesn't cost you anything. That's absolutely fantastic. And if you hit the like button, if you subscribe, if anybody chooses to do super stickers, super chats, anything like that, all that helps more people to know about it and the algorithm to show it to more people. So that's always helpful. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add to the stage here our slides for today. So I think I kind of prefer this view right here. So that'll work good. Well, as is usual, today I'm very excited to say I have all 6 features in my slides. Now, that does not mean in the hour amount of time that I have that we're going to get to all 6 features, but I have all 6 of them queued up and ready to go. And that is new developments and then restaurant rewards. I seem to be the only channel who ever consistently talks about restaurant rewards, but I don't understand why that is, because it's some of the greatest returns in the points and miles game, because restaurants give almost across the board minimum 7% up to 18, 19%. So they're very good, in my opinion. Centerpiece, that's kind of my main event, the main thing I want to talk about. And by the way, the centerpiece today is ranking a tier list of transfer partners, ones that I've used. So we're going to talk about that, and I'd love to have all of your input on that as well. Upcoming travel, I'm going to talk a little bit about some things we have booked. Reward deal of the day. I found that I get updates on different deals, and I got one that I thought looked kind of intriguing, so I'm going to share that. And then status stuff, and I'm going to share some stuff about American Airlines status with that new Globe card. So if we get to it, that's the stuff that we're going to hopefully discuss today. All right. Matt Clausen said, as much as Wells Fargo gets ragged on, I got an email from Choice today that my points would be forfeited for inactivity on 1/1. Moved one single Wells Fargo point and bought 18 more months. Hey, that works. I do that all the time with like Avianca. I mean, 12 months Avianca. So what I did is I go on there and I just look. I have a spreadsheet, and every month I go through and I update all my miles and points. And by the way, all my spreadsheets, my budget, my tracking of all the credits and stuff, and my points tracking spreadsheets, all of that's going to be available in the near future. I'm working on an online course that's going to be full and extensive, everything about points and miles, particularly for the high spender, because that's kind of my little niche here on YouTube. And it's all going to be included on there. But I was going through and looking at all my different points for this month, because it's first of the month. So I update it every first of the month. And every time I can look back through the year, and if Avianca hasn't changed in the last 6-8 months, I go ahead and move like 1,000 points. And I do that because it keeps it alive for another 12 months. So, but as far as moving one single point from Wells Fargo, that's pretty awesome, Matt. That's pretty awesome. One single point. I should keep that in mind because I haven't gotten into Choice real deeply, but because I'm a Citi guy, I got a lot of Citi points and they transfer well at 1 to 2. So that's a great point of information. Good afternoon, Bob, and everyone. So good to have you, Juan Garcia. Good to have you with us. Thanks for tuning in today. Law LC6. Hello. Good to have you, Law. D Green says, hello, everyone. D Green, good to have you here. Miles of Smiles, channel member, seems to always be on here and always great at supporting the channel. Gifted 1 Rewards Master membership. I love that. Thank you so much. I think I've got over 40 members right now, and I just, members are where it's at. I mean, that really helps support the channel in the most pure and just the best way possible. So I appreciate that so much. Matt Clausen says Avianca would also only require 1 Wells point. That's a pretty good feature of Wells Fargo. I got to say, 1 point. That's pretty awesome. Matt said, and thank you, Miles and Smiles. Oh, Matt got the membership. So excellent. Excellent. All right. Before we dive into the first one, let's see. We've got about almost 30 watching. We've had 10 likes. So if you would hit the like and subscribe button, that would be great. All right. So first thing is new developments. I'm not one that is constantly going on. I mean, you notice I don't always do videos on different transfer bonuses and stuff. Some people, it's like they do a lot of videos on that. Well, I don't. I probably should, because I do value them highly, because I'm one of the few who is positive on speculative transfers. I mean, I do speculative transfers, and I think a lot of the folks who really watch my videos, my channel members, they would work for them as well, because the typical advice on speculative transfers is that it's a bad deal because points can devalue, and points can devalue. However, the reason I do speculative transfers is I have lots of points, and I earn more points than I spend every year by a pretty big margin. It's easy because I get sign up bonuses. I understand the game. I get sign up bonuses. And in my spend categories where I'm spending a lot, I'm getting 4 and 5x on a lot of stuff. So I earn just a lot of points every year, and we only have so much PTO type stuff to be able to use them. So because of that, I'll always leave enough to book anything I want. But if you got 400,000 sitting in this one, and 300 in this one, and 250 in this one, and you can get 25% into a program that you're going to use. Because here's the thing. I know I'm going to use Air France. I know I'm going to use Aeroplane. I know I'm going to use Virgin. I'm going to. So to me, it's like free extra. Why would I not do that? And yes, they can devalue, but I have found that even when they devalue, there's usually a sweet spot you can liquidate your points to be able to get some value if you're not pressed to having to use those points, if you've just got a big pool of points. So I'm big on transfer bonuses, but right now I was looking through because I thought, well, for new developments, I could talk about transfer bonuses right now. But wow, they're just awful right now. I mean, and I couldn't get our Capital One to work. Somehow they've locked me out, and I'm going to have to reset password and all that. But as far as I looked on my Chase and on my Citi and on my Amex, and this is what was there. 25% to Southwest. Man, I would cash in my Chase points before I transferred them to Southwest. That's just me. But I haven't flown Southwest in like 11 years. So and they're just getting worse and worse. I don't know. They didn't have good value before, and it's even worse now. But to transfer Chase to Southwest at 25% doesn't seem good. Maybe some of y'all are Southwest people and you're going to tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. I'll be open to it. But sure doesn't seem like a good value to me. And then Citi had 20% to Qantas. That seemed like the best of these because Amex had a 30% to Marriott. So if you get 30% on not very good points, you know what you got? Almost not very good points. I mean, they're not much better. So boy, I haven't seen many times where there's just been so few good transfer partners. Now the Qantas one, that one might be all right. I haven't used Qantas a lot, but we'll talk about transfer partners in a little bit because that's what our main event is for our centerpiece today. Okay, let me go back to some of our comments. I think this is where we were. RC, as I often will point out, RC is my oldest channel member, always here, great supporter. Says, hey there, good to have you, RC. Thanks for being back. DEM says, still working on my Citi thank you point to Singapore transfer. Currently on day 7. Oh man, I remember you saying that on Friday at our little pop-up live that we had. Singapore has the flights blocked off until 11:10. I'll need to move about 70,000 membership rewards if the thank you points don't post by then. Oh man, I'm going to cross my fingers for you, DEM. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's going on with that. Family Travel John, good to have you, Family Travel John. It says, hi, Rewards Master and everyone. First time actually catching you live when it's live. Well, hey, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Every Sunday afternoon. Used to be 2:30. Going forward, at least through the winter, it's going to be, it used to be 3 o'clock. Sorry, now it's going to be 2:30 on Sunday afternoons, except for maybe next Sunday. Not sure yet what I'm going to do because I'm going to be in Puerto Rico, and it seems like everybody in the Points and Miles YouTube world is going to be there. A lot of people. So I'm not sure how that's going to all pan out. I don't know if any of us will be doing anything that day. So DEM says Singapore recently increased redemption rates, which is just adding salt to the wound. Yeah. I mean, devaluation when you just move points, that's rough, man. Like I said, fingers crossed that works out. Rob Knopper Studio says, does buying a Lyft gift card through United Mileage Plus X app still qualify for the Lyft multiplier on a credit card and also the built extra points? Could it become a triple stack? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't want to steer you wrong. I can just go from the experiences that I've had with Mileage Plus X. I use it almost exclusively on dining, and on those categories, it does not work on American Express. At least it didn't for me. So when I used to have the gold card, if I would try to get the 4X by buying a Mileage Plus X gift card, like say to, I don't know, Olive Garden or whatever, it would just code as a gift card and give me 1X. On Citi and on Chase cards, I have never had it incorrectly coded. It's always coded as what the vendor is. So it's always coded as a restaurant. So with my Citi Prestige, I get 5X plus whatever I'm getting with Mileage Plus X. And then, of course, I use the restaurant rewards too. So as far as your question goes, would it qualify for the Lyft multiplier on a credit card? The only way you're going to be able to find that out, since I haven't done it, is somebody's just going to have to run a small charge and excuse me, and check their statement and see. So that's all I know. So this triple stack, I couldn't tell you on the built either. But if somebody knows, please put it in the comments because we want to help Rob out if we possibly can. All right. Rio Safado, I guess I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. To have you here, it says, has American Airlines miles been devalued? I've been noticing that they charge more points. Well, it would be hard to tell because they're dynamic pricing, but not in my experience. And I check it, if not every day, every other day, I'm looking for stuff. And have some routes been, devalued or changed? Possibly. And you got to look at the times that you're flying too. So this is funny. One thing I'll tell you, Riosa, when it comes to American, a lot of the general wisdom in the points and miles community doesn't necessarily apply because, like, for instance, I was just listening to a video yesterday and somebody was giving general wisdom. You need to book out 6 months ahead and all this. And I often will do that with American, but American stuff changes all the time. So you can check now and you can check in an hour and it might be different. And so, for instance, I was actually flying back from Puerto Rico this next week on United, which I just don't like to do that if I can help it, especially if it's not international business, because I don't have any status with United. I just don't, I just don't want to fly them. So but I did because that's all I could find that was a decent point price, because American was super high. It was like 62,000 points in economy. Now, I would get main cabin extra because of status, might get upgraded, but you know, it was like, that's terrible. So I just checked it and checked it and checked it. Well, just yesterday, I booked a flight for 12,000 points. And when I checked it 3 weeks ago, it was 62,000 points. And I got it for 12,000 points yesterday. So what I'm saying is that American, it just depends on the time of day. And I mean, there's just no rhyme or reason. The other thing that's really nuts about American is sometimes last minute is your best bet. I mean, I have seen this. I have seen flights that are, I don't know. Like, for instance, when I flew back from Rome last year, we couldn't get business class tickets. But then the 2 days before, I looked on there and the business class tickets had been 300,000 points. The business class ticket dropped to 61,000 points. So I canceled my economy ticket and I bought the 61,000 point business class ticket. So it's just no rhyme or reason. So as far as I know, there has not been an across the board devaluation. Could it be true on some routes? Yes, but it could just be Americans' crazy pricing and just the hit or miss, like you're going to a casino rolling the dice on American. So the person who wins with American is the person who checks often, because you can always book something and then cancel it. So it's no big deal. All right. Fargonaut 1. Good to have you here, Fargonaut. +1 on 1 point update. Okay, not sure what you're referring to there. Let me know. Jazz Fan 27. Good to have you, Jazz Fan. I don't know where else to chat about this, but I got super frustrated trying to get other than an 80,000 offer for the Amex Platinum that I gave up, and I took a 90,000 offer on the Ink card instead. Yeah. With American Express, you know, everybody talks about how American Express, they're such a great ecosystem, and it's just such, you know, and yes, I use them for the points parade for sure. But man, when you're in the pop-up jail situation, they can be so frustrating, and there's no answers. There's just no answers. There's no formula to get it fixed. And then sometimes on these sign-up bonus business, I mean, you up to 175,000 points. That's what I'm guessing you were trying to get. And there's no guarantee. So you try all the little tricks and stuff, you know, what do people do? The incognito browser, going from a different IP. I mean, you try all this stuff and sometimes it makes a difference. Sometimes it just doesn't. So sorry about that. Sorry it didn't work out for you, Jazz Fan. But an Ink 90,000, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Those Ink cards are pretty sweet. Tampa Travel, good to have you, Tampa. All depends on where you live in Tampa. Southwest is the #1 airline for direct flights domestically. Okay. Yeah, I'm not so sure that I wouldn't take another airline to not have to fly Southwest, even if I had to have a layover on the other airline. I'm just not sure. I just haven't. The way it was before, I didn't like it because of, you know, not having assigned seats and having to get at midnight to sign in real quick so you get a better group to be able to herd onto the plane with the cattle call or whatever, you know. So it's just, yeah, I'm not a big fan. But I know some people, like I got people in my family who just are so loyal. They just love it, love it, love it. So Joe NY Law, the more I see the low value of Marriott points, the more I'm starting to consider transferring them to AA. Thoughts? Thanks. Well, transferring them to AA, I mean, that's not a good transfer rate. You know, Marriott points are kind of cool in that you can transfer them to any airline, basically, or many airlines. But what are you getting? Like you transfer 3 to 1? Is that what it's ended up being? And I don't know. I think long and hard. If I had a bunch of them, wasn't planning, maybe was switching which hotel I'm starting to use, maybe I would. But I think long and hard about it because of that very reason. James says, my restaurant sales tax monthly payment just denied. City AA business card. It is a monthly $5,000 payment. Maybe they will call me. I've never had an issue with Capital One or my IHG cards, and I can't tell you, I've never had that kind of charge, so I don't know. But I mean, can you call them and find out what the deal is? I don't know. That's certainly weird. Fargonaut says 1 point year extension on airline points. Oh yeah, okay. You're referring back to what Matt was talking about. That makes sense. RC, Southwest is great for young families with young kids before they change their business model. Yes, it was. It was a great, cheap way to fly with free bags. So we've got some family members when they come out to see us for holidays. I mean, they got little kids. They would bring 2 huge bags each and bring empty ones to take back Christmas presents type things. And that worked out great. But now Southwest is not that way. So even the quirky stuff that would made Southwest unique and cool, they've changed. So now they're trying to be like all the others, but they can't compete because they don't have the planes, they don't have overseas routes, they don't have partners, and the points are bad. I mean, that's just a pretty terrible breakdown. RC, flying with kids requires a lot of checked luggage. Yep, that's exactly the point. All right, let's move on to the next thing here. Restaurant rewards. And I've talked about this one before, but this one was on my mind because actually last night, I think it was last night. Hey, no, was it last night or was it Friday we went to eat at Chili's?
Friday night.
It was Friday night. So Friday night we went to Chili's, and we went to Chili's because we were going to go, let's see, I had some Mileage Plus X gift cards in my account. And I said, well, if we're going to go eat, let's go somewhere where I've already paid for it. I already had gift cards. So I had one for, I think, Longhorns, and it was a 45-minute wait, and I didn't want to do that. So right across from there is Chili's. So we went over there. It was a good meal. I mean, it's a chain restaurant, but it was really good. It was a good meal. But it reminded me about their rewards program. Their rewards program is like super duper simple. It is like the Venture X of rewards programs, because really what they give you is you get free chips and salsa if you're a rewards member, which, hey, if you like their chips and salsa, which I do because it's really salty, and I just think that makes better salsa. So I like it. So you get that. It's 3 points per dollar with United Mileage Plus X. So if whatever you're getting on your credit card, if you're getting 4 or 5 points per dollar on your credit card, as long as it's not American Express, you can use Mileage Plus X, and you're going to get that extra 3 United miles per dollar. We were amazed at how inexpensive it was. There were cheap meals, and they were good, like a 3/4 pound burger with fries and a drink for like $11.99. I mean, it blew our mind. And then this was the part that really kind of impressed me. Before, and I've been using Mileage Plus X at Chili's for years, I'd always have to, the little kiosk thing, the little machine with the games and stuff on there that you pay with at the table, never worked because there was, you had to scan gift cards, and the barcode they give you with Mileage Plus X just didn't work. So I always had to write it on the number on the receipt, have the waitress go and the server go and go to the bar and run it. It was a pain. Well, they've updated their little kiosk things at the table, and now you can just punch in the gift card number. It works super smooth. So I've just given a shout out today to Chili's because I don't know. I think their rewards are beneficial, and them being on Mileage Plus X, they're pretty easy to triple dip. So I think that's pretty decent. All right. Before I get back to comments and then to our centerpiece for today, I wanted to give special thanks to those who have given either channel memberships, gifted those, or they've done super chats, super stickers, either in the live sessions or throughout the week. So in our last week's lives, and this includes last Sunday and then the pop-up live that I had on Friday night, all of these folks either gifted memberships or help support the channels through super chats. And I just wanted to I try to always conclude this because it just, what y'all do means so much, and it's just so humbling that you support the channel and believe in what I'm trying to express here. And I appreciate it so much. So it was Source King, John's Credit and Travel, Mike Newland, RC, LN330, Miles and Smiles, Gentleman Explorer, Law, and DEM, or DEM. And all of y'all supported in the last lives. And I just want to tell you again, thank you so much. And then Joe NY Law, who's in here today also, along with some of the others that I've mentioned, he supported the channel after a regular video throughout the week. So thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. So from the bottom of my heart, deepest appreciation for your support. Which brings us to the centerpiece, my transfer partner tier list. And before I get into that, let me see how many. We got 37 watching. That's a great number. And 18 have hit the like button. So please hit the like and subscribe button when you do that. And also, if you do support the channel in the other ways through super stickers, super chats, that all helps me to get more watchers. So 37, that's a pretty good number. And let's see, going back to the comments. Salas Rex, good to have you, Salas Rex. Moved from Southwest to American because if Southwest wants to become a legacy carrier, might as well fly with one. They lost all my business from Chicago. I mean, people like them because they weren't like the legacy carriers. So now they're going to be like the worst legacy carrier because they just don't have this. I mean, they're like light years behind the others. I get it. I get it. Kevin Hawthorne, 5257. Good to have you here. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. All right. Good to have you. Good to have you here. Estine, Miami. I guess that's how you say that. Estine, Miami. Happy to be here. Hope everyone's doing well today. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Rioso, just curious, do you hold a Chase Hyatt card? I do. We have a Chase Hyatt card and we like it. I mean, we don't put any spend on it because, I mean, I'm not trying to chase Hyatt status. So to me, and you know, to put, what is it, 15,000 on it to get an extra up to category 4 free night cert, it's not worth it to spend 15 grand on it for me for that. I've got way too many hotel credits anyway. So yeah. Salas says, I'm like 600 LPs from gold. Oh, well, you might have to just go in their shopping portal and find something that's going to get you 600 LPs. Or when I've been in that situation before, I booked a cheap hotel in like Thailand and then not gone. And I can't guarantee you that will work, but it's worked for me every time I've done it. So just so you know, through the hotels, AA hotels. All right. Here we go. Transfer partner tier list. Okay. So I'm only including the transfer partners. I'm going to switch this so I can see it better. I'm only including transfer partners that I personally have used to make bookings. So you'll notice some major ones aren't on here. JAL, Japan Airlines is a big one now. ANA is not on here. There's really quite a few that aren't on here. And you know, not all of them Avios ones are on here, just British Airways, because I haven't used the other ones, but I'm assuming they'd work just like British Airways. So you can kind of make your own assumptions from that. But these are the ones that I personally used. I've used Air France. We've made quite a few bookings with Air France. Of course, I've used American Airlines. Like, I don't know. I've made 16 round trip flights already this year, many of them on American. So I use that one a lot. Aeroplan, I've used some. But I'm moving more into Aeroplan all the time. I think for Star Alliance, they're probably the best. And then somebody can make an argument for the next one. Avianca Life Miles, I have used them once. And so I do have some experience with that. British Airways, we've used them. Booked some flights on Iberia with British Airways. United, of course, I was a United flyer for years. I've used United Miles so many times, it's just can't even count them. So United, Delta, same thing. Lots and lots of Delta bookings. Emirates, we've got an Emirates flight, the Fifth Freedom route to Milan coming up next year. Looking forward to that. So I used their miles for that. Virgin Atlantic, we've made several bookings with Virgin Atlantic. Turkish Miles and Smiles, transferred miles to them when we flew for Turkish a couple years ago. And now Alaska with the Atmos points. So these are the ones that I've used. So this is not like the most comprehensive list you're going to see, but I think if anybody does that, they're going to have to try to rank ones that they have not personally had experience with. And I just thought it would be more pure if I would only rank the ones that I've actually used. Just like in a recent video where I ranked business class, I only ranked the 8 or 9 that we've actually flown on. So that's kind of how I'm wanting to do it. All right, so let's look at the first one. And on all of these, I'd like you to tell me, do you agree or disagree? Did I miss it? Where do you think it should be? So tell me, maybe you have different experiences, because some of these I've only used like once or twice. Some I've used a lot. So some of them think I'm going to be very accurate. Some of them, maybe it was a one-off experience. So you can help me with that. The first one is Air France. Now, for Air France, we probably made 3 or 4 different bookings. Some in business class, some in premium economy, never an economy class booking. The thing about Air France is that they have changed their program. They devalued. It used to be so smoking awesome when you could get 50,000 points Saver Award business class flights. And especially back when you could get Delta One flights for pretty cheap. The Delta One thing's kind of gone away. I mean, you might find a unicorn deal with that. But now it's up to about 60,000 points. And they were acting like when they raised the price, they would have a lot more availability. Frankly, if they did have a lot more availability, but a higher price, I'd be good with that. I mean, I would pay an extra 10,000 to have a more guaranteed way to book something. But I'm not sure that's panning out. And then the other thing is it seems to me like they're raising taxes and fees many times. I mean, you're going to be at upward of $200 on most decent flight awards with Air France, and it can go up higher than that. It can be up in the $400 range for some of them as well. So keeping all that in mind, I put Air France in the A tier. Now, I struggled because I kind of thought to put them in the B tier, top end of the B tier. But I put them in the A tier because I felt like being able to get those 60,000 point redemptions on pretty good carriers. I mean, at Air France itself, we did premium. I haven't done their business class yet, but we did their premium economy. It was 35,000 points, paid $100 and something with that. It was a great premium economy experience, and we've used them for a few other things, but I really felt like that they deserve to be in the bottom end of the A tier. So tell me what you think. Did I get that right on Air France? Do they need to be below there? Does somebody think they're S tier? Maybe somebody would argue that. So let me know if you would. 22 likes, 41 people watching right now. That's good. We're growing. That's helpful. Let me go back to comments, see if anybody's got anything to add. Source King says, chasing down the deals and figuring out the bookings is half the fun. I'm going to Tokyo in a few weeks, but I'm already working on a September 26, 2026 trip to Bangkok. Yeah, I agree. I like checking frequently because that's partly why I really like American Airlines, because it's like sitting down at a slot machine. I mean, you never know. I mean, yeah, it's bad today. Might be good tomorrow. It's good today. Better get it. Might be bad tomorrow. So that to me is kind of the fun of it. That's right. Okay. Juan Garcia says to Estine, Miami, welcome from a fellow Miamian. All right. We got a couple Miamian. Good to have you here, Juan. Good to have you here. All right. So let's move on. Salas Rex just entered something about Air France. Air France business class was my first ever point booking with a transfer partner. Did JFK to FLR and then FCO to JFK. They were awesome. Love the JFK and CDG, that's Paris, lounges, and the service was awesome. Yeah, I remember when we flew back, we went into the Paris lounge. I did a little review. I have a video on the channel. You can check that out, of the Paris lounge. And it was the Air France lounge. It was real good. So I'm assuming you agree A tier is where they need to be. The Delta redemptions have gotten much better going direct. So Air France may not be needed as much anyway. Yeah, that's true, but still business class redemptions, they're going to be better than, at least in my experience, better than Delta. So they still have that place. So, all right. So next one on the list would be American Airlines. I'm just going with these in order. And I think most of you probably know where I'm going to put American Airlines. Now, this is not, when I say American, when I put them in a spot, it has nothing to do with their hard product or their soft product. It's not about, well, they have great flight attendants or they don't have great flight attendants. It's not about, well, their seats or their in-flight entertainment. Everybody knows they're lacking that in the US. I mean, it's not about any of that. It's about their point redemptions. I mean, we're talking about transfer partners and point redemptions. And so for me, American is S tier. It just is. Because I'm telling you, I was just checking again today, and just not long before I got onto this live, and I was thinking, well, I wonder what it would be like. I saw a video about flying in Etihad apartments, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much that is. And sure enough, if you fly, and they only opened it up like 2 weeks before, but if you book, there was tons of availability in the next 2 weeks, and I just checked from today, 2 weeks out from today, from London or I think Paris, I found direct flights to Abu Dhabi, the apartment, which is their first class, which if you haven't seen videos on that thing is unbelievably nice. And, you know, it's like a flight that would cost you like $7,000 to pay for it in cash. And you know what it is on American? Consistently 62,000 points and like 200 maybe dollars in taxes and fees, 62,000 points. And then if you fly business class, which we did this on Qatar from Dubai to Berlin, that's a long flight. Business class was 42,000 points on Qatar. So you could get Q suites for 42,000 points. And I find American metal all the time, 57,000, 62,000 all the time. And then when it comes to domestic, I am finding, and I love Alaska. We'll get to them at the end of this list, but I'm finding even over Alaska on domestic flights, if you're a little bit flexible, in other words, if you don't have to have the perfect flight that leaves at 10 and gets there at 2, if you'll go earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon, I'm finding American just beats everybody on domestic redemptions. Sometimes, I mean, to California, across the US, 9,000 points sometimes, 11,000 points all the time. So, and then being able to cancel, no cancellation fees, right up to the moment you board the plane, being able to cancel, get back your $5 in fees and all your points. I do it all the time. I have like 4 American bookings that I know I'm probably not going to use, but I'm just keeping them just in case, because I know I can cancel them anytime. No problem, no fee. So that's why American to me is an S tier transfer program. Now, of course, Air France, you can transfer from a lot of different folks. American, it's got to be from Citi. But man, what a transfer partner it is. 44 people watching, 26 likes. Don't forget, if you like and subscribe, that really helps the algorithm. Also, if you any super chats or anything like that, help it as well. Let's see. Rob says, I just booked Virgin Atlantic today, JFK to London Heathrow, $57K. plus $560 per seat for wife and daughter. I'll sit in the back. Oh man, you are dad and husband of the year. That's pretty awesome. You'll sit in the back. A bit high in taxes and fees, and the cent per point was only 2.9, but pretty excited. I'm guessing that's business class, because we flew premium economy, was only 10,000 points, but it was high taxes and fees. So I'm guessing that's business class, but still 3 cents per point. Can't beat that. 3 cents per point. That's good. And 560, you know, to fly up front, I that's at the top end of what I'm willing to pay, but it's still within the margin of error of what I'm willing to pay. So that's pretty good. Thank you, Rob, for sharing that. Mike Newland, through AA, you can get JAL business for 65 to 75,000 points. Yeah. Now, let me ask you, Mike, does that open up last minute? Because what I found with AA is that a lot of the stuff will open up like just within the last 2 weeks. So have you found that to be true with that? I don't know if it will or not. But I've found so much other things. I mean, like consistently. Not every single time. I'm having trouble with my Korea trip coming up. I'm having trouble finding anything opening up. But I'm just crossing my fingers. I'm praying about it. So y'all cross your fingers with me that I'm going to have something open up, either business or at least in premium economy, because premium economy, I think on the route to Korea is like 45K when they have Super Saver Award. And I'm hoping it'll open up the last couple of weeks beforehand. So we'll see. RC, $1.99 super chat. Thank you, RC. Always a great supporter of my lives, and I appreciate it very, very much. Mike says, it did during the summer, but not lately. Okay, so it's not coming up last minute lately, but can sometimes happen. So you'd want to book that way in advance, or you could, if you can't get it way in advance, you could get something else and then be looking that you can cancel when it's coming in closer in. DEM says, have you checked Aeroplan for that Korea trip? Yeah, I've checked them all. So I've been living on Points Me and Points Yeah and all that. So yeah, I haven't found anything good. And Aeroplan to get me home, even it was still too expensive for me. 190 points or something like that. But the other thing was it's like 51 hours of flight time. I mean, they wanted me to have 2 layovers, and one of them was a 12-hour layover. I mean, it was kind of nuts. So yeah, didn't work. I did find Alaska had on Hawaiian metal business class through Seattle, but it was still 150K. So it's like, how much am I wanting to spend? I'm just not sure. Joe NY Law. Joe comes through with $1.99. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate the support very, very much. Mike says the issue is probably the hard dates, not flexible as you usually are. That's exactly right. I mean, this is a work thing. I don't have a choice of where I'm going and when I'm going. So that's what's killing me. And I know it. And I just got to live with it. So, all right. So let's look at the next one here. Let's see. What was the next one? It was Aeroplan. Air Canada Aeroplan. So I just booked something for next year for Nona and I we're going to come back from Zurich to the United States. And we're flying in business class on Swiss metal. Haven't flown on Swiss. Heard mixed reviews. Tell me down in the comments if any of you flown Swiss, what you think of it. But that's what we're doing. But it was a pretty good redemption. I mean, I think we paid a little less than $200 each in taxes and fees. So not great, but not terrible. And it was 60,000 points each in business class. So Air Canada consistently, you're going to have either 70,000 points, which seems like the most common, or 60,000 points from Western Europe. And you can find those. I think Air Canada, what I love about them is they seem to have more consistent availability at that Saver Award price than many other programs. You also can add that 5,000 point stopover, which is really a neat to make your vacation feel like a much bigger vacation. Seems like a cool, I haven't done it yet, but it seems like a cool thing. So I put Aeroplan in the A tier above Air France. So I'm not quite willing to put them in the S tier, but I think they're at the top of the A tier. That's kind of where I put Aeroplan. So let me know in the comments if that's what you agree with, if you think they're there or you think they should be lower, or if somebody thinks they're S tier, let me know. 41 watching, 28 who have subscribed. DEM says, Seattle becoming my favorite airport for travel to Asia. Great redemptions through there. Yeah, that's true. I just, like was pointed out by Mike Newland, I'm stuck on my times and my location. So that's kind of the problem. But yes, there are great redemptions through there with Atmos. All right. The next one on our list, Avianca Life Miles. Okay. This one's tough for me because Avianca Life Miles has some great numbers. I mean, in the 60,000-ish range, you can get business class flights pretty commonly. And that's good. But you got to deal with Avianca. And man, I told you I've made one booking with them. And it was rough. I mean, their website is so clunky. It's like, I'm not a tech guy. Seems like me and Uncle Luke are probably the worst on YouTube credit card world about technology. We're just not technology guys. And he, at least that's what he says of himself. So it would never disparage Uncle Luke, but I mean, we're not technology guys. And so I think I can make a better website and an app than they do. I mean, I do. It's just not good. And then if you've got to call them, oh my, it's just so rough. And so I can't imagine if you had cancellations, delays, what your headaches are going to be. So maybe I'm being too harsh, too critical, because they transfer from a lot of folks. They've got really good points prices. Their taxes and fees aren't bad, but they're the other stuff, the website, the app, their customer service. I put them in C. Now I'd put them at the top of C, but I put them in C. Tell me if I'm wrong, and I can reconsider it, but let me know what you think. 32 watching right now, 28 likes, so that's really good. Latitude attitude guy. That's how I said it. All right, Latitude, good to have you here. I booked Qatar to Korea with a Doha stopover, pretty reasonable with Alaska miles. Okay. With a Doha. See, my problem is that I can only leave on a certain day and I got to be there within 48 hours to start my class I've got to teach. So that's pretty narrow. And then coming home, I've got to be home in about maybe 54 hours. So I don't have a lot of leisure time in there. So that's kind of my problem. But I'm going to check that out, because through Doha, that's pretty good. Qatar, and I love to fly Qatar, so that would be no problem at all. All right, let's haven't heard any disagreements on any of that so far, so let me know if I've missed any of them. The next one is, let me see, where was it? It was British Airways. British Airways. Okay, their points prices aren't bad at all. And they have, every time I look, they got the most availability. I mean, they got tons of availability, but there's a reason for it. They've got a ton of availability. Why? Because, wow, taxes and fees, even on American. I get so irritated when I do searches to search for American, because it always has a ton of British Airways on there. And I know it because it says, and $900 in taxes and fees, or $1,016 in taxes and fees. It's like, what is going on? The taxes and fees on British Airways are just through the roof, astronomical. I mean, they are so bad. Their availability is great. Their price on points is pretty great. You can fly anywhere in the world, it seems, on British Airways. But wow, their point. Now, you will find some, particularly like on like when we did Iberia, it wasn't that bad. You're going to find the diamonds in the rough that are pretty good taxes and fees. But man, if you're going through London, which most of their stuff goes through London, it's rough. It's really hard to find. So where did I put them? I put them in the B tier, because they're not as hard to deal with as Life Miles. And, you know, sometimes you can find those good taxes and fees, and they have lots and lots of partners to book with. So I put them now they'll be at the lower end of the B tier, but that's where I see them at. So let me know in the comments if you agree or if you disagree. All right, the next one, United Airlines. I have made so many bookings because I flew with United for work for like years, probably 12, 15 years I flew with United. So, and it was so funny because I've been in the, you know, I hear guys who talk about, I've been in the points and miles game for 2 years or for 3 years. Well, I've been doing points and miles for like 15 or 20 years because I flew United. So I would get United miles, and I had their credit cards. And I remember always trying to find ways to earn more miles with those credit cards. Like when I was years ago, when I was still working on my doctorate at school, they didn't charge to take a credit card for tuition. So I would, every semester, I'd go in and I'd pay it with my United credit card and get those miles, you know? So, I mean, I was always doing that. So I have redeemed so many United points, but they used to be far better than they are. Before the devaluation, we flew United Polaris overseas, and it was to Rome from New York, maybe from Washington. It was from Washington to Rome, and it was 65,000 points, and that's pretty good. Now that same flight is 88,000 points, which is not as good. So what do we think? Well, the nice thing about United is they don't have high taxes and fees. Just like American and Delta, you can cancel them anytime you want, right up to the time you're supposed to fly, and you're going to get all your points back. So it's great for like buying tickets and all of that. So, speculatively, and then being able to cancel them if you find something better. So they have some good things, but the price is not that great. I put them at the upper end of the C tier. That's where I put them. I'm just not finding that I'm wanting to transfer. Now I have a lot of United points because I use Mileage Plus X a lot, but I just don't feel like I ever want to transfer to them because I never find the best deal. And if I do find a flight with them, I'm probably finding that same flight with Aeroplan for cheaper. And that's just true because they're both Star Alliance. So let's see. Salis Rex says BA's program is only good for transfer bonuses and then moving them to other Avios partners. Iberia, even with their IT issues, is cheaper, and Madrid is good enough to go anywhere in Europe. That's exactly right. Madrid is a great stop-off point, and then you can get kind of a cheap flight from there to anywhere you want as a positioning flight. That's a great point. So, yeah, I just haven't. I've flown on Iberia, but I didn't book through it, so I didn't feel like I could include them here. But you're right. British Airways is pretty good as a backdoor way to get into some other programs. That's great. Cesar, good afternoon to everyone. Cesar, good to have you in here, and looking forward to seeing you in like 5 days. So see you very, very soon in Puerto Rico. Salis says, next year, wife and I are going to Munich and doing Iberia business because it's cheaper than other obvious partners. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. Now tell me, if you don't mind, Salis, put it in the comments. But when we did it 2 years ago, we only paid 34,000 points for business class from Madrid back to the US. So let me know if yours was that same smoking deal or if they've gone up a little bit since then. I think I heard they've gone up a little bit. So 37 watching, 29 likes. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Anything else you do, if you gift memberships, or if you do a super chat, super sticker, that helps the algorithm as well, and it's greatly appreciated. All right, so the next one on the list, Delta. Now, anybody who watches my content knows that I love Delta Airlines. I love their crews. I love their service. I love their planes. I love that they're on time more than any other U.S. carrier. I like Delta. And I think they have the most smoking awesome good credit cards for an airline. They are great, but I do not love their miles. Their program, goodness gracious, it's hard to get outsized value. But having said that, I am flying back from Korea on Delta because it was the best thing I found. I found with the discount for having one of their cards, 85,000 points in premium economy, which that ain't great. I'll cancel it because that's the great thing about Delta too. Just like American and United, you can cancel anytime, get all your points back. I'll cancel it if I find something better. But as of now, that's the best deal I've been able to find. So where do I put them? Well, I also put them in C tier, and I put them slightly behind United because if I need domestic, I've got American, I've got Alaska. Really, with most programs, I'm looking for international business. And boy, Delta, international business is hard to find good deals. It's really hard. I mean, there are 348,000 points and stuff like that. So pretty rough. Well, let me know if I missed it on any of these. Please put that in the comments. All right. Well, my phone kicked off on me, so I don't know how many are watching and subscribing. So y'all have to keep track because StreamYard does not tell me that. All right. Let's see. Salis, I think, answered my question. DM says, Salis Rex, Munich is cool. I've done Oktoberfest 3 times and picked up my BMW N5 with the European delivery. Cool experience. Oh man, that sounds awesome. BMW N5, awesome. Asela says it was 200K and 865 in taxes round trip from ORD to Munich. So 2 people round trip, 200K, that's 50,000 points a piece one way. That's good redemption in business class. That's a really good redemption. And the 865, that's not that bad. Not for round trip for 2 people. So D Green says, say this, Rex. To you, Point Capital One has 20% transfer bonus to British Airways right now. Transfer and move to other obvious programs. Yep. Good to have you here, D Green. That's absolutely true. Capital One. British Airways, it's like you can almost always, if you mean it would be harder to find a time of year where there's not a transfer bonus from one of them to British Airways than a time when there is. I mean, there's just so many transfer bonuses. Cesar, I like Iberia. I think it's 44,000 business class from JFK to Madrid, San Juan to Madrid in business class. Yep. It was 34 when we did it, but yeah, 44 still. That's not a bad devaluation for sure. Sayla says, I really want to like Delta, but being from Chicago, Delta is a dead on arrival since it's a spoke and not a hub. Yeah, American has a hub there and United has a hub there, and Delta's just not got many flights out of there. That's true. I want to like them too, but their points are just so bad. I mean, but everything else is great. The Avengers 3411 says, hello, everyone. Avengers, good to have you with us. Cesar says it went up from 34.5, but it's still a great deal. I agree. Salas says, Caesar, Joel, I actually did Iberia for a solo trip and enjoyed it. 86K round trip from Chicago to BCN. It'd be Barcelona. And Cesar acknowledges that. When I did it was 34.5 each way. Well, it might have been 34.5. I just remembered the 34,000. Family Travel, John, good to have you here, John. I wonder how much the low value of Delta SkyMiles is related to how easy it is to get Amex points. Yeah, that is a point to be made. I mean, you can get Amex points, but man, I sure wouldn't want to burn all those points on domestic travel. That's the thing, is because wow, I mean, even if you factored it in, I can get a 200,000 point sign up bonus on American Express Business Platinum or Business Gold or whatever, but it's 340,000 points one way to Europe in business class. I mean, that just seems pretty bad. And maybe you find better deals than that, but I just never. And I look a lot, and I never see Delta from the US that are a good deal in their Delta One. I mean, just never see it. The Avenger said, I would personally rank Virgin Atlantic in S tier. I took my first international flight earlier this year to London. I booked a $12,000 business class flight from $12,000 business class flight from LHR, to IAD for 24,000 points. Yep. They got some great points. I bet your taxes and fees were a little rough though. Tell us if you want, Avengers, in the comments, but I bet your taxes and fees were somewhat ugly because every time I've done Virgin, they have been. Tampa Travel, Amex charges a fee to transfer to Delta. I agree, not worth it. Yeah, they are. I do not. I think that's the cheesiest thing. Amex does that because they clearly don't have to, because Citi doesn't do it. Chase doesn't do it, but they do. Mike says Delta never has a transfer bonus either. Nope, never. Say less. Family Travel, John, Amex charges excise taxes when transferring to Delta, which is awful. When Delta changed to making their points match the cash rate, it was the end. Yep. That's why they call them Sky Pesos. All right, Emirates. So we have a flight on Emirates. Like I said, we're going to be flying their fifth Freedom to Milan next year. Excited about that. I think we paid 87,000, somewhere in that ballpark. 89,000 maybe, transferred them over from American Express. Emirates has been kind of devaluing their points rates with some of the banks, I know. And so that's a big bummer. It's a great product, the way I understand it. I'll tell you more once we go on the trip. But that is kind of, I mean, they're more expensive redemptions. And now with some of the transfer ratios being all wacky, that I don't know. I think it impacts it. So where do I put them? Well, I put them in the B tier below British Airways. So that's where I put Emirates as of right now. Okay, Avengers says that was a Semper Point of 44 or something ridiculous, and I booked 5 months before the flight departing, even with the 670 in taxes. Well, I would pay 670 for that low point price and taxes. That's pretty good. The flight never changed from 12,000, but Virgin increased the points to 100K. Yeah, that sounds like how they do it. That sounds like how they do it. DEM, Amex isn't ideal for domestic redemptions, especially if you're into JetBlue. Yeah, them or Delta. RC, everyone be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Thank you, RC. I appreciate that. Let's get RM to 2,000 subscribers by the new year. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. All right, we're right at 1 hour. So let me just get these last ones in here. Virgin Atlantic. Somebody said they'd put them S tier. Where do I put them? I put them at the top of the B tier. And the reason I did that is their points are amazing. That's true, but it's just the taxes and fees are really high. And that's why I put them above British Airways, who does have good point redemptions, but Virgin Atlantic has better point redemptions than British Airways, but they have almost, not quite, but almost as high of taxes and fees. So that's why I put them a little bit above British Airways. Now we have Turkish Miles and Smiles. So we booked Turkish back when it was 45,000 points on a Saver Award to go from the U.S. to Europe. I think we transferred Capital One. Did they transfer to them? Maybe it was Citi. I don't know. One of the two. Over, and that was a couple of years ago. And we flew for 45,000 points. It was a magnificent, it was an older business class, but the service and the food, wow, what a great redemption. But that their website technology stuff is just like it is with Life Miles. It's clunky, it's old. The customer service, same thing. And even the app and stuff, we had trouble. It was scary. Like I didn't put the middle initial on Nona, and it was like giving me trouble. And I was worried we were going to miss the flight. It was just a mess. So honestly, now that they've raised their redemption price, devalued, now I think it's 65,000 just to Istanbul. And then you've got to tack on more if you go past Istanbul. Not as good a deal. I put them in the D tier. I wouldn't have. I mean, a couple of years ago, I would have put them probably in the low B tier. But today, I have to put them in the D tier, which leads us to the last one on the list, which is Alaska. Alaska has quickly become my favorite program. And I love American. It's hard to say. The problem with Alaska is I have a lot of points with them, but I don't have a way to earn a lot of points. But wow, they are consistently some of the best business class redemptions. They have 45, 55, and 65,000 point redemptions, and all of them are a good deal. They have over the pond to, that's to Europe. But if you're going to go even to Asia, I mean, they have just some of the best redemption values. It's just fantastic. Again, you can cancel. You'd have to pay that $12.50 fee, but big deal. And when it comes to domestic travel, they have an award chart. I mean, on American, you're paying 4,500 points or 7,500 points or 12,500 points. And even though American will come in lower than that sometimes, that's consistently what they are. And Alaska, I've transferred to them. I've used them several times. And I think they're the top of the S tier for me. So that is my list. This is your last opportunity. We're just bumping over an hour. So last opportunity to give me any corrections. If you want to make any last comments, if you want to support the channel, anything you want to do, now's the time, because this is my list. In the D tier, Turkish. C tier, bottom is Life Miles, then Delta, then United. The B tier, Emirates, British Airways, and at the top of it, Virgin Atlantic. A tier, Air France, and then Air Canada at the top of the A tier. And at the bottom of the S tier, we got American Airlines. And at the top, I see Alaska. And that's how I see it. Tell me if you think anything's different. Okay, last comments. DEM, Rakuten may change that very soon if they bring on Bilt. Yeah, I'm hoping so. That would be amazing, because I want to have a way to earn Bilt points. It's just Bilt doesn't make it easy to do. The Avenger says, I love my Alaska miles. I always get 5 Alaska miles per dollar spent at restaurant whenever I go to Spokane or Seattle. Yeah, they're good. They're good. Jay Brothman, good to have you here, Jay Brothman. You don't have the $12 fee if you have the Summit card. That's true. That's true. I know that that's one of the features of the card. It waives that. And then Tampa Travel, great live. Have fun in Puerto Rico. I plan on telling y'all all about it, as I'm sure other creators will. Cesar gives me thumbs up. Same to you. I'll see you in less than a week, my friend. See you there. All right. I want to thank everybody who was in here today. We had a few who supported the channel. Joe, NY Law, gave $1.99. RC gave $1.99. And then let's see what else we had. Yep, Miles of Smiles gifted 1 Rewards Master membership. So thank you to everyone who supported the channel. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And like I said, I don't know what will happen next week. May or may not be able to have it. But going forward regularly, we'll now be at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon. So thank you, everybody, for the time change and being here. One last comment came in. D. Green, Alaska has too many Phantom Awards. If they fix that, they'd be S tier. Yeah, they do sometimes. I haven't had that problem much, but I just ran into it just the other day. All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks for the support. Thanks for just being you, because this is the greatest community. And I will see you here next time.